Hey Shooby-Doodlers, I had a message from Carol Deml who asked how can I draw a plan of a garden and then convert that into like a 3D drawing of it. And I can understand some people would have a difficulty, so that's what I'm going to do. In the second half I'm going to show you how to draw a plan of a landscape. This is kind of Mordor in Lord of the Rings, how to turn it into the landscape. Not only that, so that you can draw it from behind as well. But let's not talk about it, let's do it. Well, I am going to start by drawing the ground plan, and I'm going to assume that we got a square garden or backyard, depends how you call it. I'm going to break that into quarters, into eighths, and then into sixteenths. So this is going to be the aerial view. This is looking down on your nice little square backyard. We call it a garden, you might call it a yard. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say right about here, I'm going to have an apple tree growing in the corner of the garden. And then here I'm going to have a little patio seating area with chairs like that and an umbrella in the middle. Now this garden is also going to have a trellis, a fence all the way around. I'm going to put fancy little curvy bits on the top like that. And I think we might have some plants growing up like that. So I'm going to leave a little space there for the plants. And I'm going to have a little pond right there. And I think we're going to want a couple of pot plants there, some kind of patio plants there as well. And then our vegetable garden is going to be a raised bed. So this is very, very simplified. So there's going to be a raised bed there with cabbages and leeks. Okay, it's a very, very simple kind of design. And I imagine this is all going to be kind of crazy paving like that. So how do we convert that into a landscape drawing? Well, if you have a square piece of paper and you kind of turn it like that, you will find that the angles here go in. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're looking from the side. We're looking from here. We've got a person standing there looking this way. So we want to bring those lines in like that. And then that might be halfway, but we want to go a little bit beyond halfway. That might be halfway, but a little bit beyond halfway. And similarly here. So as we go across, these lines are all equidistant, but here they get sort of closer and closer together. I want to halve that, so we'll bring that about there, halve that, and then these lines will go like that, and that gives us perspective. But we also have a perspective grid that we can start building this on. This is where the apple tree is. It starts there, and we're going to have the apple tree about there. You can see that the patio area is kind of like that. The footprint plan of the raised bed garden is about like that, but we want to raise it up a bit like that and have cabbages. Here we got the table is about like that and about like that. And because you've got these lines there, your grid you can work with. That's going to go a bit like that. So the table's going to be there. We're going to want to have it's maybe quite a big table, is it? Anyway, we want a chair like that, a chair like that, another one there, another one there. And in the middle of it, we want our sunshade. Now this is where the pond is going to be, so that wants to be, oh no, it wants to be about there, there, and about there and there. So it's going to be kind of an oval like that. No, I didn't get that right, so I'm going to redo that. So the pond is about here. So what I need to do is the floor plan, which is about there, like that. Now this is going up like that, and then it's going to be coming around like that. So we've got this kind of 3D thing there. That will work it out. And here we've got a couple of pots. And here we have got a couple of pots. And we've got 3 pots like that. So think about what is nearest to us. And we have got these armchairs. And then that's going to be the table. You're going to hardly see the leg of that, and there's a little bit there. And then we want another of these, you know, standard kind of plastic armchair kind of thing. This is where the sun shade thing comes out. So it's going to be a bit like that. I think we're going to see a bit round the back because we're looking down on it. There are pots behind here with potty things growing in them, and then there's another chair behind there. Behind here we have the apple tree. We can put some apples on there. This is going to be the pond, and the kind of ring of slabs on the top has a thickness to it like that. And then we can put those there like that. So the pond then has a depth, and that's the water. Here we have some fish. Maybe we want some things growing in there as well. And we've got a pot there and a pot there, and we want things growing in it too. Here, I'm just going to put little corner posts for our raised bed. And we've got cabbages, and here we've got leeks or something. Anyway, you can have whatever you want growing in there. But that is your raised bed. And then we've got the patio is kind of around there, so we can just put this kind of texture in there. That probably needs some texture too. The fence posts are going to be coming up here, and again they'll be getting kind of shorter if that's there. They need to be a bit higher at this end, so we'll put one there, one there, one there. And then we got these ones like that. And we put the fancy fence posts with the nice curvy tops along the top like that. And they'll be getting there. And then we got plants and things growing up the side. And that is your 3D plan from there. Now that's all very well, I hear you say, but you know, I don't want to be drawing gardens. I'm not a garden designer. I want to draw maps of Mordor and things like that. So let's see how you would do something like that, a more sort of an outside mountain landscapey kind of thing. How would you plan that? But this is assuming that you want it to be kind of accurate so that you can draw it from different angles. Let's imagine we've got a mountain range coming on here, and I'm going to have the highest point there and then maybe a lower point there. So I'm going to imagine there's contours like this, and when it's very steep then they get quite close together, don't they? But now I'm going to bring that kind of like that so that we get a kind of a saddle joining the two of these things. But this is going to be higher because there's more lines, and then we'll do something like this so it kind of gets like this, and it's going to be a kind of a mountain spur coming out into the landscape like that. And then we'll call that it. And then maybe here, let's put that right on the circle, then we're going to have the Tower of Mordor or something like that. And here we can have the Lake of Misery. And let's have a road coming that kind of comes across to Mordor, and then that other one can go across like that. So we've got a meeting of the roads where we're going to want to have an oak tree, a blasted oak tree. And let's say this is our landscape. Here we are. I'm getting carried away with my landscape and I'm drawing an aerial view again. So what we need to do is this kind of perspective kind of view. Can I take that a bit wider? I can, can't I? Let's make that a bit wider. So this is going to be our perspective view, and again we want to split that, split. Want that to be about there, and that about there, and that about there. Now this point here is going to be roughly about there, but it's up. Okay, so let's say that's the top of the mountain. This one here is about there. And let's say that's going to be kind of where the ridge is. So, but that's going to be coming sort of down like that and up. And then this looks like it's kind of quite busily coming down to about, where is this sort of going? Something like that, isn't it? So this wants to come down quite steeply, in fact, doesn't it? About like that. and then that kind of comes across there. Then the Tower of Orthanc, the base of it is there. Orthanc? I don't know, whatever. The Tower of whoever it is. Some kind of Mordor. That's the word I'm looking at. Let's have those. Have the eye of Sauron, is it? I can't. Oh, I'm getting all muddled up now. So that would be about there anyway. And then this path is starting right in the middle, and that swings out to the tower. And this swings out about there, doesn't it? Coming in there. The mountain actually wants to finish about there. And then this again is the sea, or the lake. So let's see what happens if we kind of draw this. And this is going to be the tower based at the bottom, and then we come up and around and put our eye there. Now this, of course, is just kind of working it out. And you know, I'm not I'm not expecting to do an amazing finished drawing from this point. Now here we want to have kind of a blasted oak tree. So I'm not expecting to do a fantastic finished drawing. This is just kind of working it out. And if I was going to be doing this in a book or something like that, and if we had a map in the book, and I wanted to have an accurate landscape that matched the book, then this is the kind of thing I would do. And it would mean that every time I drew it, it would be kind of accurate and looked about right. So here we have the sea kind of thing there. And we can sort of bring in a bit of shading and stuff there. We can call that the horizon in the background. And if you wanted to, you can add a dragon or a Nazgul or something like that, and build up your drawing. Now you see, I could turn this the other way around because it's a flat kind of thing like that, and we can draw that same plan, and we're going to have the mountain here and there, so we're going to, and then this is going to sort of finish about here. That's coming into something like that. So it's going to come up to there, down to this point there, and then along. That's kind of going down there. And then we might just see a bit of the oak tree there, see a little bit of the path. The Tower of Orthanc is about there. That keeps saying Orthanc, but anyway, you know what I mean. And so we could draw that there. So you can draw it from any angle because you've got the plan. And you know that the lake is going to be there, and then maybe you know that it's, oh, was it, we've got the road there, haven't we? You can imagine the road is going off there because you might have a larger map, and that the lake is going to be here, and the lake goes off into the distance. And so we have a completely different kind of thing going on, and there's the other bit of the road. So this is the front view, and this is the view behind. But by making the plan, by doing a perspective plan, then you can draw that landscape from any direction you like. Thanks for watching, and you can support this channel and get so much more on my Patreon page. Click to find out more. Make sure you are subscribed to the Shoo Rayner Drawing Channel on YouTube, and in the meantime, keep drawing, practice, and I'll see you next time. You take care now. Bye bye.